Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk has reportedly been in tears after whispers and rumors about supposed private photos involving her, and JD Vance began spreading across social media like wildfire, and even though nothing has been proven and no one has confirmed anything publicly, the internet does what the internet always does. It runs faster than the truth can breathe. Erika Kirk found herself watching a storm build above her head, a storm she never asked for, a storm she couldn't outrun, and tonight I want to talk to you directly. Because this story isn't just about two names being dragged into the spotlight. It's a story about how destructive rumor culture has become, how fast a spark turns into an explosion, how quickly strangers decide they know everything about someone they've never even met, and how a person can lose their peace simply because somebody somewhere decided to push a narrative that may not even be real. Erika Kirk woke up one morning and found the internet talking about her like they owned her heartbeat, like they understood the insides of her mind and soul, like they had some divine right to judge her, and from what sources close to her have supposedly suggested she was in tears, overwhelmed, devastated, blindsided by something she didn't understand because she didn't know where it came from, who started it, or why anyone believed it. And while these rumors dragged her name through the mud, JD Vance found himself caught in the same fire, watching a situation that wasn't even verified spiral out of control faster than any advisor or public relations plan could manage. JD Vance didn't speak publicly at first, not because silence means guilt, but because silence sometimes means a person is trying to figure out what in the world is even being said about them and why their name is suddenly being spun around like a bottle on a table surrounded by people hungry for chaos. And let me tell you something, folks. Once the internet smells blood, it doesn't matter if the wound is real or imaginary. It doesn't matter if the story is true or entirely fabricated. Once the crowd gets loud enough, truth gets buried under noise. And Erika Kirk saw her reputation tossed around by strangers who never cared about the truth. They only cared about the entertainment, panic, anxiety, confusion, fear, exhaustion, every emotion piled on top of her chest, and the people close to her said she felt like she was drowning in public opinion, like she was chained to a rumor she had no power to stop, and JD Vance. He watched his name dragged through headlines, questioning his character, questioning his loyalty, questioning his integrity, and the man stood silent, not because he was hiding, but because he didn't know how to fight an enemy. You can't see or touch. Rumor is smoke. It suffocates not by force, but by confusion. It consumes not by truth, but by perception, and the more people shared posts, spun theories, connected dots that didn't exist, the more the situation exploded, until suddenly it wasn't just a rumor, it was a wildfire. Politicians weighing in influencers, reacting podcasts dissecting every second of speculation, strangers fighting in comment sections like gladiators spilling blood in the sand over something nobody could even prove. Erika Kirk sat in a room holding her face in her hands, crying, shaking, wondering how her life could shift so violently, based on something that may have never existed at all. And from those close to her, they said she kept asking the same question, why me? Why now? What did I do to deserve being torn apart by people who don't even know me? And I want to talk directly to you listening right now, because you and I both know how dangerous this world has become. We live in a time where people don't want truth. They want drama. They don't want evidence. They want adrenaline. They don't want peace. They want explosions and the truth. Well, it's always slow, always quiet, always patient, always drowned by the noise of chaos. And when the internet decides it wants a villain, it will carve one out of thin air. It will take pieces of nothing and call it everything. It will sculpt lies into monsters and release them like wolves into the crowd. And those wolves don't stop until they draw blood. And Erika Kirk became the center of a war she never signed up for, reporters calling friends, calling enemies, calling strangers, digging for angles, searching for anything to fuel the fire. JD Vance trying to stay composed, trying to keep his family protected, while the world shouted louder and louder. Speculation turned to certainty, certainty turned to judgment, and judgment turned to digital violence, and no one stopped long enough to ask a simple question. What if none of this is real? What if this entire storm is built on shadows? What if lives are being broken over illusions because nobody has the patience to wait for truth anymore? Erika Kirk reportedly cried to people close to her, saying she felt betrayed not by one person, but by the world around her, by a culture that rewards destruction more than honesty. And I tell you this directly because we have all seen it. The internet lifts no one, it only watches to see who falls and then cheers as they hit the ground. JD Vance, meanwhile, has reportedly been pushing back behind the scenes, demanding clarity, demanding answers, demanding accountability. Because even if nothing happened, reputations don't heal quickly. Reputations once cracked never look the same again. And here's the lesson hidden underneath this mess. Whether you love these people, hate them, or don't care at all, they are human, they bleed, they break, they fear, they lose, they stumble, and they suffer. And what's worse than pain inflicted by enemies is pain inflicted by strangers who think they know the truth but don't even know the story. Erika Kirk now finds herself questioning everyone around her, wondering who started the rumor, who wanted chaos, who wanted to tear her down, and why. And when I speak to you like this, I want you to hear the weight in every breath, because if you've never had the world misunderstand you, you don't know what real fear feels like when people decide you're guilty without evidence, without proof, without hearing your side, without giving you a chance to breathe. It's like waking up in a nightmare that never ends. JD Vance and Erika Kirk became characters in a play they never auditioned for, prisoners in a courtroom with no judge, no jury, no facts, only spectators demanding punishment. Rumor, culture is the modern executioner, and nobody waits for truth anymore. They swing the sword first and ask questions later. There are people who say Erika Kirk is breaking down emotionally because she doesn't know how to fight shadows, because she doesn't know how to stop something that doesn't exist, because you can't defend yourself against smoke, you can only choke on it. JD Vance has built a reputation over years of work, discipline, effort, and suddenly a whisper threatened to rewrite his whole story. That's the terrifying part. We are living in a world where a rumor is more powerful than facts, where a lie can travel around the world before the truth gets out of bed, where people want heroes and villains so badly they will invent them if they have to. And that's exactly what happened here. An invented narrative became a wildfire burning through the future of two people who didn't even see it coming. But listen closely. The storm always runs out of rain. The truth always finds daylight. Lies always collapse under their own weight. And maybe someday, when the noise fades, when people grow tired of the chaos, the world will look back and realize they were wrong. They were reckless. They were cruel. And then maybe they'll understand the damage they caused, but by then the scars will already exist. Erika Kirk will never forget how it felt to be torn apart by strangers. JD Vance will never forget how quickly loyalty evaporates when the crowd wants a spectacle, and every one of us should take this story as a warning. Be careful what you choose to believe. Be careful what you repeat. Be careful what you share. You might destroy someone whose only crime was being seen, and maybe, just maybe, the next time the world tries to cancel someone, the truth might get a chance to speak first. And if you're listening right now, if you're still here with me, I want you to sit with this thought before you sleep tonight. What would you do if the whole world believed something about you that wasn't true? What would you do if you couldn't stop it? What would you do if people celebrated your suffering like entertainment? And if that question scares you, then you understand exactly what Erika Kirk and JD Vance are going through. In this fictional reflection of rumor culture and media chaos, because the real crime here isn't a scandal that might not even exist. The real crime is how fast the world loves to destroy people without proof. And that, folks, is something we all need to think about deeply. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories and lessons like this, and I'll see you in the next one.